Fargo, Moorhead, USA. It's 4 o'clock.
From the WDAY News Center, this is Ty Schoenert, and it's time for your Flag News Update. No injuries are being reported after a house fire broke out just after midnight in North Fargo. The Fargo Fire Department tells WDAY Radio flames were shooting out of the first floor of the home in the 700 block of 12th Street North when crews arrived. It took roughly 15 minutes to get the blaze under control, but major damage was reported. It's unclear if the house was vacant or not. The fire is under investigation. Most of Minnesota is under burning restrictions. The State Department of Natural Resources issued a restriction yesterday saying extreme drought conditions, dry fall vegetation, low humidity, and wind increase the risk of wildfires. Permits will not be issued for open burning of trash or yard waste until those restrictions are lifted. And MSUM is launching a 20-year plan to go carbon neutral and to reduce the campus's footprint.
And MSUM is having a great opportunity to do something that's actually on the forefront of what's going on all around the country and globally as well.
Architect and Principal Sustainability Officer Patrick Tabado is overseeing the project, which he says will result in an estimated $6.6 million reduction in operating costs, along with reducing the campus's land space by about 10%. Tabado says the strategy will eventually allow the campus to generate its own electricity and heating. This is Ty Schoenert with The Flag and AM1100theflag.com. First with the news when you need to know.
Do you have plans for the day after Thanksgiving? Laying around, sleeping off those extra pounds from the day before? I have a better idea. Take a trip to Red Wing Shoes for Red Friday. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. Whether you're in need of a new pair of boots or some Christmas shopping, Red Friday is the time to buy. At Red Wing Shoes, you can take 20% off your entire purchase. Red Friday, November 25th. Red Wing Shoes, 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
He's back on the road. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden heading west in the closing days of the midterm elections and focusing on his student loan relief plan at his first stop in New Mexico, calling it a game changer.
Over 200,000 people in New Mexico have student loans, and the average borrower in New Mexico owes just over $34,000. And my plan is going to make a real difference in lowering the monthly cost for families as well.
Though for now, the plan is on hold because of legal challenges. The president trying to make the case his policies are helping families. Republicans blame him for voters' top concerns, including inflation and crime. Former President Trump loses around in his long-running legal tug-of-war with New York Attorney General Letitia James, a Manhattan judge just granting her request for an independent monitor of Trump's real estate empire. James has accused the Trump Organization of continuing to engage in fraud after she sued over those allegations. Meantime, Trump is suing James again, accusing her of targeting him for political reasons and violating state laws in New York and in Florida, where he lives. The family of Gabby Petito files a $50 million wrongful death lawsuit against police in Utah.
A group of attorneys has filed a lawsuit against the Moab, Utah Police Department over how they handled Gabby Petito and her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, during a traffic stop more than 2 weeks before Laundrie killed her. The attorney said one of the officers had a history himself of harassment and domestic violence and failed to follow Utah law, which states that police officers have a duty to intervene.
She could have been protected that day. There are laws put in place to protect victims, and those laws were not followed.
Gabby's mother, Nicole Schmidt, says they hope their efforts help other families. The Moab Police Department says this lawsuit claims they should have been able to foresee the future, but that no one could have predicted Gabby's death.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. On Wall Street, another down day. The Dow was dropped 146. America is listening to Fox News.
It's a new day because COVID vaccines just got a big update. So all the big stuff coming up this fall? Well, now you can say, you bet I'll be there. Because updated COVID vaccines protect against both the original COVID virus and Omicron. And everyone 5 and older can get one. So this is a moment we've all been waiting for.
Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th. Find a plan that's right for you at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Mostly cloudy and breezy for this evening. We'll have a slight chance for a shower or snow shower later this evening into the overnight hours, with mostly cloudy skies sticking around into Friday morning. We'll drop down to a low of 27. And that wind will go light for Friday. Clouds decrease. We'll see mainly sunny skies throughout the day with a high near 41, and we'll be in the mid and upper 40s for Saturday with increasing clouds and a slight chance for a shower late in the day. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
Why High Plains Apache? Well, there are so many reasons it's why High Plains Apache. Ask your neighbors about their sales and service or new and used deals on sprayers. The parts and service department, and yes, a very well-respected sales department. Everything you'll need to get started this season with the sprayers for your operation. You'll find out a lot more at the website, High Plains Apache Sprayers. You'll find them at highplainsapache.com. That's highplainsapache.com.
Live from the PetroServe USA studio, it's the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.
We start today's show with an exclusive and shocking story about public schools and your kids. Before we get into that story, I want to start with a couple of questions for you. One, do you today trust public school administrators? Do you trust what you're being told from the public school administrators? And two, do you trust your kids' safety while they're at public schools? Because let's be honest, we've all seen the test scores as of late. If you can't, test scores are bad. So if you can't trust your kids' safety at public schools, you have to start to ask yourself, why are my taxes going to these public schools? Like, what's the purpose if my kids aren't safe, if I'm not getting a great education for my kids? What exactly is going on here? We're going to dive into this story. It's an exclusive here on the Chris Berg Show. Thanks to many of you mama bears that have been reaching out to me, and a couple in particular. So I just want to say thank you to these two mama bears that have been going after this story. And I think when you hear it, you're going to be like, wait a second, we need to question everything, like we've talked before many times here on the show. Welcome to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. We brought the PetroServe USA studios down to Los Angeles, California. That's where I'm at. I've been here for a few days now, seeing some family, some old friends, going to a conference this weekend. So it has been a beautiful thing to enjoy some sunshine, some beach, and just some beautiful, beautiful time with friends and family. Before we get into this exclusive story, I also want to share one other thing that has been happening apparently out there at the polling places. So would love to hear from you. You can always email the show, studio@chrisbergshow.com. Again, studio@chrisbergshow.com. But somebody texted me earlier today and said they were out in West Fargo and they were standing in line. Everything was going pretty well. And then they were asked, hey, do you want to vote with a paper ballot or with an electronic ballot? We all know that early voting now is happening across Minnesota and North Dakota. And some people still have some questions about the 2020 election. So this person, very kindly was like, oh, you know what, I'll take a paper ballot. And apparently the person at the polling place was like, oh, you're one of those, huh? You need a paper ballot? You're one of those people? And what's interesting is there was no one that was asking to vote electronically. Apparently there's a bunch of people online that were doing the exact same thing, asking for paper ballots. So just wanted to share that story with you. If you're out there and doing the early voting, obviously do what's best for you, what makes you feel most comfortable and most certain that your vote is going to be counted and make a difference. That's the whole purpose of this democratic republic, the reason that we fought a war back in the 1770s to get out from under that tyranny. So do what you feel is right and what's going to give you the most confidence in this system. All right, I want to jump into this exclusive story. And again, thank you to the mama bears that have been helping get the information and walk us through what I'm about to share with you. Because I think when you hear this, what I'm hoping is that many more of you are going to begin to question what's coming out of school system administrators, school systems, so that you can continue to ensure that your kids are obviously safe and also doing what they can to get a great education. So back on October 11th, we brought a story to you. Many people reaching out to me about the fact that Moorhead Horizon Middle School had essentially shut down the locker room. So it was like, hey, look, if you're coming in for gym, you just got to go straight to gym class. You're not going to be able to use the locker rooms. And I want to share with you, I'm going to get into some timelines here today. I know it's radio. Just bear with me because these timelines are really, really important when it comes to you being able to trust these public school systems and the administrators giving you information. So just listen closely, take some mental notes as I go through this with you, and then you will get the gist of this story. So this was on Tuesday, October 11th. And Chris, I'm going to bring this up here for people. Tuesday, October 11th, at 10:25 a.m. So Tuesday, October 11th, 10:25 a.m., Horizon Middle School puts out this email, and we just got flooded with people going, wait a second, what is this? So I'm going to read this to you verbatim, listen closely, and then you'll see that there's some different iterations, but what they were sharing with you and what they said back to us, because we did request a statement on this thanks to super producer Chris Larson, they weren't exactly being completely forthright, which I think is really, really important. If you're talking about somebody's kids, you just got to be honest. You just got to tell them the truth so that there's that trust, because we're putting our kids' safety in these public school teachers, the administrators' hands. So here's the email. It says, hello, Horizon East families. Due to ongoing safety and privacy concerns, as well as in an effort to maximize the amount of time we can dedicate to instruction, we as a school have decided to close down the locker room for our physical education classes at Horizon East. Starting October 17th, locker rooms will be utilized for after-school activities only, and students need to report to their gym space immediately for class. Goes on to talk about, Friday the 14th, clean out their lockers. But the key thing there is due to ongoing safety and privacy concerns, as in an effort to maximize the amount of time we can dedicate to instruction, they've closed down the locker room. So again, super producer Chris and I getting flooded with texts and people saying, hey, can you find out what's going on here? Because safety and privacy concerns, obviously, as a parent, you start to go, ding, 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 ding. The red lights start going on and off. And so I'm going to share with you what was also sent then to Chris and myself, super producer Chris Larson, that morning. So again, that came out at 10:25 a.m. on the 11th. About a half an hour later, super producer Chris Larson reaches out to Brenda Richmond, says, hey, Brenda, I received an email from a concerned parent that alerted me to the closure of the locker rooms to physical education classes at Horizon East. He says, I'm looking for a statement from the district in regards to this situation. Also, can you disclose the quote unquote ongoing safety and privacy concerns addressed in an email sent to families this morning? So we really wanted to get clarity on hey, this is a red alert for parents. You're talking about ongoing safety and privacy concerns for their kids. What's going on here? And super producer Chris Larson, I wish we would have went back to the show on the 11th and grabbed this clip, because I'm going to read for you in a moment the statement that we got from Brenda Richmond. And I remember that day reading the statement to you. And as I'm reading it, because I had just gotten it before the show, and as I was reading, I was like, wait a second, this doesn't even address what Chris was asking. This doesn't even really make sense. And the reason we wanted to do this, because also not only were we getting flooded with communications from many of the mama bears out there, but there was a Facebook group where a lot of parents were saying, hey, coming from my 7th grader, this is because of theft, lock cutting, fights, these things called axe bombs. I don't know if you're a parent of a middle-aged student these days, but apparently they're I don't know what an axe bomb is. It says in here they take people down and spray them with this, axe body spray. And anyway, so a lot of shenanigans, let's just say, going on in these locker rooms. And again, because of theft and really the safety of students. So we reach out, and this is the statement that we got back from Brenda Richmond. This is at 2:48 p.m. The reason why I only had a chance to read it basically live on air, but that Tuesday. And she says, hey, Chris, Horizon East Middle School transitioned from now keep in mind, we're asking about the safety of your kids and this idea of privacy concerns. Horizon East Middle School transitioned from a 6-period day to an 8-period day this school year, which decreased each class period to 43 minutes. This instructional time is shortened further for physical education, with changing time at the beginning and the end of the period. Staff noticed that the majority of students are not changing or utilizing the locker room for physical education classes since COVID. To maximize instructional time for PE, Horizon East Middle School physical education staff and administration determined that locker rooms will not be used for PE classes during the school day. As adequate supervision of locker rooms takes additional staff, this maximizes staff time and ensures student safety and well-being. Locker room use by students can be requested if needed, and the school will work with students on an individual basis. So clearly, they did not respond in any way, shape, or form to really the safety concerns and the privacy concerns, other than saying, hey, we need more staff if we're going to do a good job of ensuring that students are safe. So I wanted to bring that up because this is the response that we got from the school. Now, what's fascinating, again, this is thanks to Mama Bears. Mama Bears out there doing open records requests, getting actual communication around this situation, what was going on internally, and then some of the anecdotes that I want to share with you about students legitimately being hurt and injured inside these locker rooms, but that obviously not necessarily being disclosed or disclosed appropriately to parents. So on Monday, now keep in mind, this was all Tuesday. The statements came out to parents. We asked for a response. That was Tuesday, the 11th. Monday, October 10th, they had a first draft of the email they were going to send out to families. It says this: hello, Horizon East families. Due to altercations, supervision support, and thefts, we as a school have decided to close down the locker room and change policies for physical education at Horizon East for the school year. So there, at least they're a little bit more honest. Altercations, supervision, support, and thefts. They're like laying it out, being somewhat forthright, which I think, again, if you're talking about somebody's kids, you've got to be transparent. In my opinion, you've got to be honest. So they changed that to due to ongoing safety and privacy concerns, which is kind of a nicer way of saying what actually is happening inside these locker rooms. That was Monday. They changed it to Tuesday, and that's the message that they sent out. They don't address it. Now, many parents hearing from their actual students, hey, look, mom, dad, there's theft going on. There's people getting beat up. Things are happening. Super producer Chris Larson and I decided not to go that route because we didn't know. We were told the statement from Brenda, this is what she said is going on, that there's shorter time classes. There's not much time to change clothes. So we went with what Brenda said because that was the only actual, I guess, evidence, if you will, that we could share at the time. It's called responsible reporting because that's pretty rare these days. Now, I want to share a couple anecdotes with you, and then we're going to bring in a special guest in our next segment that he's a former teacher and doing some really great things in education. But here's a prime example. This is from an email, again, from this open records request, thanks to the Mama Bears out there. It says, hi, my name is Ross Olson. I'm a PE teacher. I wanted to give you a heads up that a friend got into an argument that got physical in the locker room prior to PE. He was pushed and hit his elbow on a locker, which caused a cut. We bandaged it up, and he did go to the nurse, but came back and participated in gym. He's got some blood on his long sleeve at the elbow area. So here's a young man gets pushed, ends up bleeding, not disclosed. Again, can you trust public schools with the safety of your kids? If you can't, why are your taxes going to them? Another one on September 23rd says, hey, coach, I heard about a fight that took place at school today. Was attacked as one of the girls recorded it in the locker room, wondering what actions will be set in place. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. So this young man, I'm presuming, or the student that got blood on his shirt was actually then told, hey, just don't go in the locker room. If you need to, let us know. We'll help you out. But basically, they told this person to stay out of the locker room for his or her own safety. Another story of a fight here that was caught on camera. There's another one here that says, also reported going into the boys' bathroom and boys' locker room after a volleyball game, reported slapping. It was on camera. After a girls' volleyball game, someone pulled their hair, pulled this young girl to the floor. That's on camera. We did request that camera footage, but unfortunately, we were told because of certain laws, we were not able to get access to that footage. We will continue to see if we can get that done for you. So a lot to digest right there. I know it's radio, but I want to give you those timelines because I think it's critically important that you start to ask yourself, hey, is the information that I'm getting from my school administrators, my school boards, is it true and is it accurate? And most importantly for you, can you trust your kids' safety at these public schools? Those are two really, really important questions. And if you can't, why are our taxes continuing to go there? Thus, why we've talked many times on the show before, there needs to be a major, major push within Minnesota and North Dakota to improve school choice and education savings accounts. When we come back, we got a very special guest. We're going to continue on this exclusive story here on the Chris Berg Show, plus a former teacher that is talking about the indoctrination on these public school campuses.
Your farm and business depends on a reliable source for energy. PetroServe USA is the customer-owned co-op committed to being a stable source of fuel for your equipment and propane to dry your grain. We have the capacity to make sure you never run out of fuel and to keep prices stable. Dependability, competitive prices, and exemplary service. That's PetroServe USA, helping America fuel better. PetroServe USA. Call today.
And at the same time embrace California's vehicle ban, which will hurt the biofuel market and increase prices for Minnesota families, farmers, and small businesses. Governor Walz wants to have it both ways, but the people of Minnesota demand clarity. Call Governor Walz today at 651-201-3400 and ask him if he's going to bring California's car and truck ban to Minnesota. Prepared and paid for by the Domestic Policy Caucus.
Listen, this company in Fargo is paying a $17 per hour starting wage, a possible $750 bonus, hourly increases after 90 days, quarterly wage adjustments, and health insurance benefit at 30 hours per week. Red River Human Services of Fargo. This will be a job you'll be proud of, helping adults with developmental disabilities with a culture and benefits nobody else can match. Apply now at Red River Human Services at rrhsf.org. That's rrhsf.org.
Election night is almost here, and we'll have election night coverage for you right here on AM 1100 The Flag, WZFG. Join us for all the coverage of the big night. Until the returns are counted, we'll be here to follow the action, and we'll talk with the candidates as the night progresses. So don't miss our election night coverage on AM 1100 The Flag, WZFG. Brought to you by Labor Masters. Labor Masters, our fine sponsor for election coverage on The Flag.
It's the first unlimited full-service and exterior works wash club at Don's Car Washes. You can have the best of both worlds with unlimited interior and exterior washes at the Don's on 13th Avenue and unlimited exterior washes at the Don's on 52nd Avenue. Truly unlimited washes for only $49.99 per month. Join Don's Unlimited Wash Club. Exterior unlimited washes starting as low as $19.99 per month. It's never been easier to put a smile on your car at Don's Car Washes.
Are you interested in swapping stories over a good card game? Would you enjoy having 3 hot meals a day? Would it be okay with you if someone did your dishes, laundry, and helped manage your health concerns? For over 125 years, the Veterans Home has been providing quality care for veterans and their spouses. You were there for us. Now let us be there for you. Call us at 701-683-6500 or visit ndvh.nd.gov.
This ad is sponsored by the North Dakota Cares Coalition and aired in cooperation with the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
She's giving me the excitations. I'm picking up good vibrations. She's giving me the excitations.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Yes, that daily dose of truth, hard to find these days, and we're talking about it right now as far as public schools, the administrators, the school boards. Are they giving you the truth? Are they being honest with you? And maybe most importantly is, can you trust them with the safety of your kids? If you can't, why do we continue to give our tax money to them? Thus, the big push towards school choice and obviously great education savings accounts. We got a special guest coming up here in a moment. If you've got any questions, comments, want to email us into the show, please do so. You can do so at studio@chrisbergshow.com. Again, that's studio@chrisbergshow.com. I want to say thank you so much to Red Wing Shoes for sponsoring our studio email inbox. They do some great things for all of our outstanding blue-collar workers today. So if you're out there working hard, you just need some customized work boots that are protective, go see Teresa, 3003 Main Avenue here in Fargo. Again, 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Teresa will be more than happy to help you get some customized work boots at Red Wing Shoes. All right, joining us right now, Frank McCormick. He's a former teacher. He's written some op-eds. He's been on Fox and Friends, and he's got this great blog called Chalkboard Heresy, where one of the titles, I don't know if we're going to have time to get in today, because hopefully Frank will come back and join us, because he says teachers, not parents, are the problem. And he just goes for it. So Frank, thank you so much for joining us. He's going to be at an event coming up in Minot as well. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But Frank, I hope you had a chance to hear my opening statement there, just in regards to what was happening in this Moorhead Public School. And they were trying to spin parents with a statement. And then we asked for a response. They weren't really, just your reaction to what I had to share there, being a former teacher.
Hey, Chris. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. My first thought is, I'm not surprised. I was thinking about this recently and wrote a little something about how public schools really operate almost as a smoke and mirror show. So much of what they do and how they operate is designed kind of for public consumption, to convince the public that everything's functional and everything's okay. And so they really operate kind of like they have these propaganda departments within every district, a communications head, and they craft and tailor these messages and oftentimes conceal the truth or spin it in a way to draw as little attention as possible and minimize any accountability.
So how do we fight back against that? I mean, we're not talking about, widgets here. We're talking about our kids that we're entrusting people with for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day.
Sure. I think that ultimately we have to place a really laser tight focus on school board elections, which I think for a long time, most Americans were really too concerned about. I mean, you're like, well, what does a school board election really matter? Or I don't have time for that. It's just, it's the same. School is school. And we have to get control of those boards, because that's ultimately who makes decisions and who can implement change. If I were to talk on an even bigger scale, I think the real dream solution is to have a legislative solution at the state level or, federal level even that allows school choice. I'd like to see a Supreme Court ruling that says, basically people have the right to decide where they use their tax dollars for education. Not the way it operates now, which is, it's basically a monopoly,
Yes.
Whether or not you like it or don't like it, you have to send your kids there. And whether the school succeeds or fails, you still got to send them there and they still get money.
I mean, it's unbelievable, Frank. I didn't think we were going to go there today, but let's go there a little bit. And I do want to talk about this event from the standpoint that the idea, you look at proficiency scores, at least as of late, I'm sure you saw some of the ACT, SAT scores and proficiency scores that are absolutely abysmal here in North Dakota. They're in the 30s. I mean, I'm sure when you were a teacher, if a kid got in the 30s, he got an F, and yet we continue to fund these schools with more and more money. I guess I want your reaction to that, one. Secondly, you said the school boards, but what I keep seeing, Frank, and you know the inside better than I do, is that these parents will go to the school board meetings, they get their 2 minutes, but they got so much money coming in from this COVID funding. I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars that it feels at times like, oh yeah, parent, we'll give you your little 2 minutes to talk, but we don't really care what you have to say because I got millions of dollars in the coffers coming next year.
Exactly. On your first point, regarding proficiency, in the district where I taught, it was for math and reading, it was 12 and 13 proficiency rates. And what's so crazy about that is, they use that failure rate to demand more money. They say, well, that just shows we need more funding. We need more money. We need more of this. And it seemed like no matter how much money we got, it never went to the students in the way it should. It was all squandered. It was all spent on new levels of bureaucracy. Now equity, DEI initiatives, all that, which we can get into. And then on your second point, which was about, school boards giving parents the time and attention, that's like what I was saying, where whether or not you're happy with the school, they don't really care because they get the money anyway. And so I think that Republicans especially have to make education the number one kind of political issue going forward for the next decade until we get control of our schools back. Because if we don't, that's going to influence the next generation, that what they're churning out. So it's a political issue as well, what kids are being taught, which I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent there, but it's all related to me.
No, you're not. I guess I want to get into that because I know you're going to be at this event coming up on Sunday, November 6th. Is going to be at Minot State University. You can get tickets at NDCAN, so NDCAN.org, again, NDCAN.org. The title, which I can't wait for you to talk about, what people are going to hear from you Sunday night, is The New Red Guard. Learn how public schools and universities are creating Marxist revolutionaries. That's a strong title. Tell us what's happening and what people, most importantly, I mean, they're giving you 3 hours of their night. It's Sunday. Why should they give you 3 hours on a Sunday night?
Well, I think what people need to hear is the truth from someone who's been inside the system. I taught for 11 years, and someone who saw what was happening. And I suppose as a historian as well, which I taught history, I started to kind of connect these dots about what was going on. And so what you've seen happen over the years, and it especially accelerated after 2020 with George Floyd, is specific political agendas becoming institutionalized. I'm not just talking about like an individual teacher. Teachers, we've known for a while that a lot of teachers are leftists and they bring in personal bias, but now it's being mandate and official program of the school. And one of the things they call it is liberatory design or critical pedagogy. And that's what's being taught to new teachers and administrators and teacher colleges right now. And so they bring this to the school with them, and they bring it both into programming and into curriculum and into policies. And the fundamental idea of it is that education is should be a political tool that you use to awaken what they call critical consciousness in students, which is basically kind of a neo-Marxist way of viewing the world in terms of relationships of power, the oppressed, the oppressors. So helping students identify their oppression, identify oppressive groups, look at these systemic inequalities from capitalism, from white supremacy. And so as that's been coming in, as it's been bleeding in down from really teachers' colleges into our schools, my hypothesis is that this is going to have a long-term effect on each successive generation as their ideology is shifted, as they essentially become radicalized. And we use the title The New Red Guard because that's referencing the most extreme example of this we've seen in history, which was during China's Cultural Revolution, which was a student-led revolution where students were essentially indoctrinated by the state to become revolutionaries and eventually carry out the revolution on behalf of orders from Mao Zedong. Now, it's an extreme example, and I get it. People are going to say, well, that can't happen here. But the point is that no one thinks these things can ever happen here, but this should be a wake-up call. When you see what is, and I'm going to be showing some of the stuff that went on in my school and that's going on across the country, when you see from the inside what they're bringing in, the ideologies, what they're teaching kids, you start to wonder, like, well, what is the effect this has on students? How does this shape their ideology? And what happens when these students become adults? And there's another 2020 type incident. How much bigger is the reaction that time? Last time it was mostly college students who had, been kind of influenced by college, kind of toppling statues and screaming about revolution. But, we bring this now down to K through 12, and there's going to be a lot larger pool of radicals joining in.
Hey, Frank, we need to leave it there, but I'd love to have you back because I know this conversation, there's a lot more to it. So can we have you back at some time in the near future?
That would be great. I'd love to join you.
Thank you very much. Again, check out ndcan.org. ndcan.org. Event is Sunday night. Learn what's going on inside the classrooms. When we come back, this is on the ballot. Important to you. Stick around. We'll tell you about it after this.
Mostly cloudy and breezy for this evening. We'll have a slight chance for a shower or snow shower later this evening into the overnight hours, with mostly cloudy skies sticking around into Friday morning. We'll drop down to a low of 27. And that wind will go light for Friday. Clouds decrease. We'll see mainly sunny skies throughout the day with a high near 41, and we'll be in the mid and upper 40s for Saturday with increasing clouds and a slight chance for a shower late in the day. From the Flag Skywatch Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Justin Storm.
Our weather this afternoon is brought to you by the team at Precision Concrete Cutters, Ramjack North. When the weather cooperates here in the valley, our instinct is to race outdoors and work on that honey-do list. As you mow the lawn, you notice that your new addition is sinking. Hi, Gus here with Precision Concrete Cutters and Ramjack North. Whether it's polyjacking or piers, we have a solution. Call us at 701-280-7038. That's 280-7038.
Don't be fooled. On Election Day, vote no on Measure 1. Term limits take away your power to vote for the legislative candidate of your choice. Term limits shifts power to bureaucrats and lobbyists. Term limits eliminate experienced lawmakers committed to North Dakota energy, agriculture, and jobs. Don't let out-of-state interests change our Constitution and your right to vote for who you want. Vote no to North Dakota legislative term limits. Paid for by North Dakotans Against Term Limits, Mike Nathy, Chair.
Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, NDSU Bison basketball player. Whether it's playing basketball or driving in my car, I want to do everything to the best of my ability, on the court and off the court. So when I'm in the car, I up my game with the Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. I could save up to 30% on my premium just for driving safely. To me, that's a slam dunk. Download the Nodak Insurance app today.
Did you know that periodontal disease is the #1 health problem in small animal patients? Hello, I'm Dr. Calderwood, a veterinary dental practitioner at Prairie Winds Veterinary Center. By 2 years of age, 80% of dogs and 70% of cats have some form of periodontal disease. If you notice a change in your pet's playful habits, breath, or facial swelling, there's a chance that your pet is suffering from mouth pain. Prairie Winds Veterinary Center can help. Call us at 701-356-5600 or learn more at prairiewindsvet.com.
For 103 years, Wimmer's Diamonds has been helping you celebrate special moments. Celebrate the precious little addition to your family, celebrate that exceptional achievement, and celebrate love. We invite you to visit us at our inviting new showroom and let us help you find that perfect, beautiful reminder to celebrate your special moments of love. Wimmer's, 4582 32nd Avenue South in Fargo.
Hey, it's Kev from the Need to Know Morning Show with my Bottle Barn beverage of the week. It's from Metallica. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Metallica has a bourbon. It's called Blackened, and it's delicious. Blackened is an award-winning premium bourbon rye blend. It's a collaboration with the late master distiller Dave Pickrell and the band Metallica. And if you're looking to try a new bourbon, might I suggest this one? Available at both Bottle Barn locations, South University Drive and 32nd and Veterans, where they've got that beautiful humidor. Like the page if you're on Facebook, Bottle Barn Liquors, online at bottlebarnliquors.com, and make Bottle Barn your last stop on the way to any occasion.
With cyber warnings possible from Russia being reported, don't let your business get crippled with an attack. True IT is protecting both large corporations and small businesses with future-ready cyber plans, real-time protection, and backups that will allow your business to continue to operate while others fail. True IT offers network protection at any location. Get your technology blueprint now and see where your tech is strong or at risk. True IT Fargo, toll free at 888-243-1016 or visit trueit.com.
Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely place.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show. We are live from the PetroServe USA studio in Los Angeles, California today. I'm down here visiting some family and friends. Want to remind you, though, if you're out and about today, driving on the interstate around Fargo, stop into their new store next to the Amazon Shipment Center out of Harwood there. They've got a new store coming up in Castleton as well. And the nice thing about your PetroServe USA, not only are they helping you in America feel better, but they've also got the Cafe USA, so you can stop in there and get some fresh burgers, some delicious food, and fill up the belly and the body as well as the gas tank. All right, it's Thursday. That means it's time for our Williston Economic Development update of what's happening there in the area of Williston. We are just a few days away from Election Day. So coming up on Tuesday on your ballot in Williston is a 1% public safety tax. The big question on people's minds is, should they vote yay or nay? So to give us the breakdown on what's happening here on Tuesday and what your yay vote could mean, he's the Williston Fire Chief, Matt Clark. Matt, great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So people walk into the voting booth and vote yay on this. What exactly are they voting yay for?
So what this is a renewal of the 1% sales tax that was put into place in 2015. It was a 10-year limit for the sales tax, and it was a 1% increase that was voted. 50% of the funds are split to the county, and the other 50% go to the city for public safety. And in the upcoming one, it'll be public safety along with mental health grants and other mental health services. And what it is, it's just a renewal to continue that process and allow us to keep improving our services and what we can do for our communities.
So give us some ideas of what the 1%'s gone to up to this point, and in the future, how you plan on using some of these funds.
So for us, realistically, in 2015, we were already kind of behind the curve as far as emergency services and what we were able to provide to the community. They went to the vote to bring that forward so that way they could upgrade a lot of the services that were provided throughout Williams County, because it affects 18 agencies, not just the Williston Fire Department and ambulance. What that did was it gave us some extra funding that we were able to use for capital improvement projects. It's a subsidy that we are able to kind of bid from. And what that did for the Williston Fire Department, for example, is it allowed us to build a training ground. It allowed us to build the addition of 3 stations and renovate our station number 1, along with upgrading our fleet. And the reason we had to do that was our call volume had continually been on the rise. Over this last, realistically, 7 years, we've continually seen our call volume going up of anywhere from 20 to 25%. This year, we're going to be over 5,000 calls for service as a department. And just to put that in perspective for a lot of folks, that puts us over Minot's calls for service, and then it puts us near Bismarck's calls for service, even here in Williston and Williams County.
Wow, that is incredible. Join us right now on the Williston Economic Development Update. Williston Fire Chief Matt Clark. I think I heard you correctly, Matt. Did you say that in the last few years or 10 years, you've built 3 new fire stations?
Correct. And even with that, the 3 stations where we're at, we're starting to project, and we try to kind of see what the future is and where our trends of our emergency calls are going. And realistically, we're showing a lot of growth and response times that are starting to extend out, and still showing that we honestly are in need of another station to be west of town for us. And with that increase of that call volume and kind of where things are projecting out, this public safety sales tax allows us to continue growing. We don't want to get back to the 2014 time where we're kind of behind the curve. We want to be able to respond in a timely manner and get fire trucks or ambulances to people's doors within 6 minutes. That's kind of some of the standards that we work for us. And our call volume supports that. We've done a lot of data utilization for our units and community risk reduction programs and other things to kind of see where we can improve as a fire service and where we can improve as an ambulance. And that's where the trends are going. And with the billions of dollars that are moving west of town, we've got some the Cerralon gas plants and other things. We've got a data mining warehouse that are moving west of town. We've got multiple $1 billion worth of industry that are moving in, populations increasing around us. And, our department itself covers 1,100 square miles worth of territory between our ambulance and our fire department. Along with this public safety, like I mentioned, it affects the other 17 agencies that are in Williams County. So you're talking the Williston Police Department, the Williams County Sheriff's Office, Emergency Management for Williams County, anywhere from Tioga Fire Department to Wild Rose Fire Department. You've got Tioga Ambulance, Ray Ambulance. All these entities are all affected by this 1%.
Some of the 1% public safety tax will be on the ballot here on Tuesday. If you are early voting, then you will be seeing that as well out there within Williams County and obviously within the city of Williston. Join us now, Matt Clark, Williston Fire Chief. You mentioned initially as well, Matt, that, hey, Chris, yes, we're going to use this for public safety, but also it's going to go towards some mental health initiatives, which I think is so important right now with what you hear about the mental health conversation, not just within the state, but within the nation. So what do you mean specifically there? How is this money going to be utilized to help with mental health?
So Williams County and the city of Williston, they've been working in different factions trying to evaluate where the mental health needs of our community are. There's already some processes that have been put in place to try to help some of these services out. Williams County opened up a grant process for mental health needs, one of which we were able to secure mental health support for first responders. So following post-traumatic stress incidents and getting out, they're able to go receive care for free, supplemented by insurance, of course. But then they're looking in with the upgrade of the 1%, or excuse me, the renewal of that 1% to extend those mental health services, because we are always trying to make sure we can kind of not only respond to calls, but then work on the prevention side of calls and see where we're at and trying to meet those greater needs. And if we can help provide some mental health services for some of the different calls that we respond to, it may alleviate that call for service and may help them get the care that they need prior to even having to call 911.
Matt, I don't know how long you've been in Williston, but I think it's important you mentioned Sarillon, taking place. That's a $2.8 billion investment just now. That's only phase one. I heard phase two is going to be close to $6 billion. You've got the data mining center right next door in Trenton. I mean, let's go out 10 years from now, because I know this 1% sales tax goes through 2035. How big is Williston in 10 years? Or that I guess maybe we call it the Williston Metro pretty soon, but that Williston area in the next 10 years.
And it depends on who you talk to, but realistically, we're showing anywhere from closer to $10 billion up to, some folks are saying $30 billion worth of industry that's moving into Williams County and the Marley Crossing area and right by Trenton with us. And our department and the other agencies that are in Williams County are all going to be responding to these areas. And, it provides a lot of revenue generating sources for the state of North Dakota. It provides a lot of different factions and a lot of different assets to our community and helps us build up some of our infrastructure for us. It's important with this 1% for us to continue to improve and find ways to improve our department and to always be able to provide the level of service that's become expected from us and that our community deserves, truthfully. And we're going to, as we map out and as we evaluate the growth out west of town and kind of where we're at, that's our job, is to make sure that we can provide those services, and the continuation of the 1% and its renewal will do just that.
Matt Clark, Williston Fire Chief, for our Williston Economic Development Update. We appreciate it. I've got, I think, probably like 30, 60 seconds, Matt. Just want to give you the last word. Anything else you want to add or share?
We have a community that has been behind us from step one. They voted for it in 2014 to put this in place. We've answered the call. We've improved our services, and we'll continue to do so with their support moving forward.
Matt, we appreciate it, and we look forward to talking to you hopefully in the near future, okay?
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I want you to process for a moment what Fire Chief Clark just said there. He goes, hey, look, Chris, we're talking about $10 to $30 billion. Those are some big, big numbers for any county in North Dakota, but obviously Williams County as well. So just keep in mind the growth that's taking place within Williston, Williams County. And that's why this segment every single Thursday to talk about the Williston Economic Development Program, what Sean Winko and his team is doing there, is just really important, not just for Williston, but for the entire state of North Dakota. When you're talking about those kind of numbers, it's incredible. You can find out more at willistondevelopment.com. Again, willistondevelopment.com. Want to remind you as well, we just talked about, hey, possibly this 1% sales tax helping out with some different mental health challenges that are going on across different communities. If you're someone right now that's dealing with anxiety, depression, you're not getting a good night's sleep, there's a lot of stress out there, do yourself a favor. It's free. It's a free consultation. You basically take a nap for 60 minutes. It's non-invasive. They put some earbuds in your ears. You listen to sounds. Check out Sarasota Fargo. The number there is 701-566-5231. Again, 701-566-5231. It's Sarasota Fargo. They may be able to help you feel like, hey, life is good again. All right, stay with us when we come back. We'll talk a little bit more about the opening segment, our exclusive story about kids being safe in public education, and much, much more coming up right after this.
If you're an early riser, Moxie Java at the Lights in West Fargo is ready to serve.
Been looking for a golf cart for the lake, cabin, or the course? Largest selection of Club Car Onward golf carts within 150 miles is available at All Season Motorsports. 0% financing. That's 0% financing for up to 36 months on 2022 and 23 Club Car golf carts. All inventory must go. Largest selection of club cars at 0% financing. All Season Motorsports off I-94 and Cheyenne Street, West Fargo. Hurry before they're gone.
From Lindsay Echo Water, we live in a flood zone. We have the best ag land in the country. The river floods over and over, and on that land, the water recedes, and the trace elements of those herbicides go into our water, unless you have a full water treatment system like I do from Lindsay Echo Water Systems. Cooking is way better, too. Same with coffee. Go to lindsayEchoWater.com for details or call 218-233-8655, 218-233-8655.
Why High Plains Apache? Well, there are so many reasons it's why High Plains Apache. Ask your neighbors about their sales and service or new and used deals on sprayers, the parts and service department, and yes, a very well-respected sales department. Everything you'll need to get started this season with the sprayers for your operation. You'll find out a lot more at the website, High Plains Apache Sprayers. You'll find them at highplainsapache.com. That's highplainsapache.com.
Have you ever thought about selling your home but quickly talk yourself out of it when you consider all the repairs, cleaning, inspections, open houses, and the unknown of what price your home will actually sell at? Stop stressing. We will buy your home as is with no appraisals or costly commissions to worry about. You can even pick your closing date. Call me, John Nosala with JK Property Partners at 701-306-3229 or go to FargoHomeValues.com for an instant valuation.
Living this simple life, what does that mean? Broughton Cabinets knows. Their designers understand that some families want simple, clean, uncluttered kitchens. Yet they also realize that your coffee maker, smoothie blender, and bagel toaster all need to be easily available, yet cleverly hidden. Relax. Broughton Cabinets has been building custom cabinets for almost 50 years with the Broughton Promise, quality that stays on budget. Visit their new showroom on the I-29 frontage road south of Fleet Farm.
I am Greg Steeman, State Representative for District 27 in North Dakota. As your representative, I will fight for family priorities, such as additional behavioral health services, parental rights and education, and a pro-growth small business environment. Our district is one of the fastest growing in the state, and infrastructure needs will be a priority as well. I will work hard on behalf of District 27 in Bismarck, and I am respectfully asking for you to vote for Greg Steeman on or before November 8th.
Paid for by Greg Steeman for House.
Hey, welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio, helping you and America fuel better. Today from Southern California, I'm sure many of you have seen what's been going on. I think it was yesterday, the Federal Reserve said, yeah, we're going to continue to raise rates. In fact, Chairman Powell said we're going to continue to raise rates, probably even beyond what we originally anticipated until we finally get this inflation situation in our nation under control. So what does that mean for you? Obviously, cost of money is going to be a lot more expensive. The Bank of England came out this morning suggesting that we could be facing, at least the UK, the greatest recession that they've ever faced before. I don't know if that's going to happen here in the United States. All I know is as they continue to raise rates, money is going to be costing more and more, and you'll see companies hiring less and less at some point, I would presume. It hasn't necessarily happened yet, but we said before as well that, look, this means that the month of December, just because of inflation, you're going to basically work for free for the month of December, because inflation's taken out so much of your disposable income over the previous 11 months. That is a shocking thing to understand. This is not financial advice, but I bring all this up to you because do you have a chance to get into Chairman Powell's ear and tell him what to do? No. But you do have a chance to take over and be a real custodian of your assets if you really begin to understand decentralized finance. I think it's really critically important that all of us right now, with where things are headed in this monetary system, even if you hate DeFi, at least begin to understand it and educate yourself about it. One of the persons that is just fantastic on educating us about decentralized finance is Patrick Riley. He's the owner of Reaper Financial. He's got his own decentralized token. You can find out more at reaper.financial. Again, that's reaper.financial, REAPER.financial. So check him out, email him. He'll be more than happy to visit with you about what's happening within the decentralized finance space. Everything's being decentralized. Education is going to be decentralized. It's beginning to happen. Out here in Los Angeles, I had a great meeting with someone who's working on some AI as far as education is concerned, where you're going to have a 24/7 tutor. I mean, that is where the world is going. You see enrollment lowering across the country when it comes to higher education. We spoke to the president of NDSU about that recently. And so it's what's going on. And when you begin to realize that, hey, can I or not trust these public schools with the safety of my kids? I think it's a very eye-opening experience for a lot of families out there. And I want to bring in super producer Chris Larson just to, Chris, get your reaction. You did a great job reaching out to Moorhead that day when that email came out in regards to shutting down the locker rooms. And I know I read the email, live on air that day. I was like, this doesn't even, I didn't get it. It didn't make sense. Just your reaction to what we talked about in that first segment and that email from Moorhead.
And still, Chris, it doesn't make sense to this day. I mean, what we heard from Moorhead Public Schools versus what we've heard in the meantime, and even the different messages, the different messaging to parents and what we got in the media, those things didn't jive. And from a standpoint, I've worked in a public school district. I'm very active in volunteering. These are things that you have to be 100% honest and forward with your families, because we are entrusted in our school systems to keep our kids safe. And if their safety is in jeopardy, or if there's something going on, then we owe it to our parents to let them know and let them know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, a great point. And bring the parents in to help solve the problem when you're talking about the safety of kids. But when you use what I would consider to be kind of, spin emails and making things maybe sound better than they really are. And then, you clearly asked for a statement and respond in regards to the privacy concerns and safety concerns. And that wasn't, I don't believe, transparently addressed. I think that poses problems in the minds of parents. So we got a couple of emails I want to share with people about what's going on here and what people's thoughts are as far as regards to education. Ken says this, hey, this is what we must insist on. Transparency can be claimed at the local level. A school bill of rights, for example, school choice can be improved by creative tax credits in Minnesota as the education savings accounts, which has been mentioned, and other kinds of credits to promote competition and education. This has to go through the legislative process. And I completely agree with you, Ken, that there's got to be some massive changes to school choice. We don't even have school choice in North Dakota, let alone what's happening in Minnesota. And look, I know you can find something wrong with everything today, right? But if you've got a better plan than an education savings account in regards to school choice, then please propose it. Put it up for people to vote on. Let's get it passed. I'm just looking at how can we put your money back into your pocket so that when you have kids getting involved in education, that you can take your money and have it follow your kids, rather than right now. We might as well just take a lot of this money that we're spending on public education. And I didn't want to say it out loud, but you can make up your own ideas of what I want to suggest we should be doing with that money. And it's just not right. I mean, it's like $13,000 per student that we are funding kids at right now. When you're looking at, 37, 38, 39 proficiency ratings, that's just flat out embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And we need to do a much, much better job for the future of our nation. So we're going to continue this conversation because there's a lot more happening, as I mentioned before, within the decentralization of education in America. And speaking about decentralized finance, tomorrow, one of the founders and CEO of Bushel Inc., they're doing some incredible things when it comes to transactions, agriculture, farmers. Jake Jorns is going to join us. He recently spoke at a big financial seminar, so we'll tell you more about that tomorrow. And of course, it's our Feel Good Friday, thanks to Gideon Hearts Day and Dakota Medical Foundation, coming up tomorrow here at 4 p.m. This is the Chris Berg Show. I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 4.